Alright, everyone. So, this is the same day I casted all these sets at 3:30 in the morning, and I wanna talk about it. Just kind of do a mini analysis, really. I do want to do an entire video at one point about the skill gap between West and JP. But right now, I don't really, that's gonna have to be after the update cycle, because that's how content works, and for now, I want to talk about the World Champs that happened and things that we can learn from it in general, and yes, I'm aware about the Game 5 stuff and the stream dying. I do apologize for that happening once again. Unfortunately, Vapor's PC died. They were, of course, the ones handling all the overlay and stuff, because I just simply cannot do that. So, we're going to take a look. A Western team did not make finals, and we will talk about it. So every Western team lost round 1 except Starburst. So let's talk about game 1. So, Chocopero, if you guys have seen Splatoon 2, this is the guy who's gets 3,000 in all modes like every month in Splatoon 2, and who has the only dude to get 3,100. Actually, no, Melon got 3,100, but I got 3,100 multiple times. You know, kind of the solo queue warrior in Splatoon 2. And, you know, he's a Squeezer player, right? Squeezer. Yeah, he's on E-Liter. They're doing E-Liter ballpoint 96 in game 1. Now, this is a good E-Liter map, don't get me wrong. Like, E-Liter BP is fine here, because this is, like, the most long-range BS thing in the game. But, like, also, it's still funny. So Graveyard Shift was playing with Obi. They didn't have Ellis. Obi used to be on their team, so it's not, like, it's not that crazy. Also, by the way, their tag is cool. Graveyard Shift in general has really cool theming. I'm sorry, I promise this will be like 2 seconds, but like, it's like the thing over a gravestone as their tag. And they're called Graveyard Shift because they have a Tetra who goes and dies all the time. Like, it's really smart. I just want to point it out. Anyway. So, Graveyard Shift had probably the least interesting set. Or, yeah, a crucifix, whatever. They probably had the least interesting set. And I want to point out a bit of differences I noticed between Orion's Tetra and Mashu's Tetra. I'm probably saying that name wrong, I'm so sorry if I am. Who was the Tetra that won the whole thing. And Orion is a very good Tetra. But one thing we're going to notice right away is the way Orion plays Tetra and the way Mashu plays Tetra is not the same thing. And they are both running Tetra Sword Ballpoint. Right, this weapon changes a little bit, you know, they don't run, like, Splash all the time. But for the most part, Graveyard Shift and the team that actually won has pretty much the exact same comp. Like, there's almost no changes. Right? But how they approach Tetra is very different. I played against Orion a lot. And I'll say, Orion is, like, mechanically, probably, like, best or second best Tetra next to Isabelle in the entire scene. Like, just straight up mechanics, like it's him or Izza at the absolute top. And Orion is incredibly good at taking fights. If you played against him or if you've seen him, like, if you've seen a tournament set of Graveyard Shift on my channel, you've probably seen this dude get multi-kills and clutch out his team. He is very good at doing it with Tetra. Now, of course, Mashu is the actual best Tetra. So why am I saying that this guy is, like, these two are both mechanically better, but Mashu is better overall? What's the difference? Right? The difference in playstyle is kind of what they do. So I want us to take a little bit of a look at Graveyard and this Sword Tetra comp that we see. Because this is a very common comp to kind of understand, you know? Like, you have Sword Tetra for a reason. The whole point of Sword and Tetra as a weapon comp is that they are a duo. You have a Tetra that's much more aggressive, you know? It goes in, and a lot of people are like, oh, the Tetra goes in and fights everything, and the sword cleans up the kills. Right? No. That is how these guys play it. That is not how that comp actually works. They get away with it, because Orion is very good. But you can only get away with it so far until you encounter stuff like this. This is far from the only reason they lost. But I want to point out the difference immediately when we get to Mashu's team. Mashu, on the other hand, and the Tetra in general, with this Tetra sword pair, I want you to look at this Tetra right here, and look at this fight on this right side of the map, okay? It's a little hard to see, because this thing isn't hidden for some reason in spectator, so unfortunately we get blocked. But you can see that the Tetra is here with the ballpoint, and they are running around this corner. And then they walk forward, and they roll in, and then they go fight. Like, they went in, and they went back, and then they went in. And it sounds tiny. Like, okay, they walked backward for 2 seconds, and then they walked in. Who cares, right? Mashu doesn't play to get kills with Tetra. He gets kills with it, of course, that's how the weapon is, but he is not playing for kills. Mashu is playing to get this guy kills. He is playing so that Narisho can go and frag out. Not for him to frag out, for this guy to frag out. Because Sword's a very good weapon. And Sword is perfectly capable of getting kills by itself. It has burst combos, it has charge/horizontal combo, it has an up-close one-shot, like it's got all that, right? But it's still slow. It still has to get in positions where it can actually work. And so this thing's job is to go be a distraction and to go force people to shoot at it or to look at it. And then this one actually gets the kills. Not this one, and this one cleans the kills. No, this one is what actually is supposed to get the kills. And sometimes these things. And that'll be another thing we'll see later is, in general, and this is most apparent with the Starburst set, we'll get there later, everyone fights in this game. On this team. Everyone fights. Everyone. And I mean everyone. All the time. And we'll get to that later, because that's probably the biggest difference between West and JP that a lot of us need to work on. But this Tetra is playing to set up the sword. Graveyard Shift kind of just plays with Orion trying to be super mechanical. And it works, and they can get away with it. To some extent. But this is where it starts to struggle. Because here, look how little the Tetra lives. Never mind, he clutched. Right? But the Tetra here in this fight is not trying to live. Like, this is going for a kill. This is very in, you know? Like, this is going for stuff all the time. This is not survivability in mind. Here it just worked out. Right? But where Mashu will kind of roll and then, like, hesitate or back up or be patient with it, Orion will go in. And that's a big difference here. Yes, this is the Zelda and Shell playlist. For those who are curious. It's very famous. You can look it up, and it's very good. And I think Graveyard Shift as a team has the comp down, and they have a good style, but they struggle to play all the way. I've been talking mostly about Orion because I feel that's the biggest difference. But another more important difference is how I feel the rest of their team plays around the Tetra and Sword. And one thing that we'll look at real quick, and I guess we could skip to the Starburst set at this point and just kind of talk about it. I guess I'm going to jump around here. So we're going to jump to the Starburst set, which is here after this one. That set was a stomp. Right. I want to compare the opening here of this entire team versus Starburst, okay? Let's take a look at the rollouts on this stage, okay? We have both teams rolling out here. And just look at the position difference. Like, look at this. Look at the map right now. I get you can't see everyone, but, like, you can see enough. Every single player of this team is in mid. Every single player of Starburst is on their plat. No exceptions. Like, this guy's kind of far forward, but he's on his side of the map. That spot on the other team is the longest range weapon who is still further forward, right? This is a machine. Right? This is one of their slayers. In the most aggressive, in the most defensive spot of the backline player of the other team. And what this position means, like, this is part of the hallway maps. For those who have seen the map discussion I did, this is where, yes, the maps play into how you play the game. Because, yeah, we have strikes, and this is an opening fight, and, like, no one's dead, and Starburst has specials. But I want you to look at these here. When Starburst is using their specials, they're using them to get mid, right? That's the point of this jetpack. And the point of the crab, we'll see later, is to get the middle of the map. That is the whole point, right? They're using these resources to take this space. Rearrain over here already has it. Like, they just have it. They didn't have to special for it. They didn't have to get a game. Nothing. They're just here. And yeah, this is a really scrappy fight. Like, in the moment, this is hype, and it's hard to see the actual strategy here until we actually pause for a second, right? But, like, this isn't a scrappy fight because the players on this team were like, ooh, me like fight. I go fight because fighting fun. Woo! Playing for special, boring. Let's go! That's not the point, right? And look at this jetpack, by the way. And look at the Neo Splash jumping in to the solo jetpack alive. And then here comes Narisho jumping in. And then we have Mashu jumping in. Keep in mind, everyone was dead. And this is an advantage of recall specials in general people don't play off of. Recall specials are jump points. When you super jump to a teammate, particularly as an aggressive comp like this, you don't want to be jumping on top of your teammates. You want space, so it's hard to kill both players quickly. The longer it takes to kill those players, the more likely the jump is to get in and stay alive or for one of them to live. So this jet landing is different from where the actual jet is. So while they're focused on the jet, the recall serves as, okay, I get in here. And then I get in, and then I get in. And suddenly, Starburst has thrown 2 specials at them, and it's effectively hit a brick wall. Like, yes, these guys aren't close to special, but who cares? The one relevant special was used keeping map control. The tri-strikes were thrown because, I don't know, they just wanted to. You strike, you just throw it. Nobody cares about the shark, and Zipcaster is fine sometimes. They don't really care that much about their own specials. Starburst, on the other hand, does. Because this comp can fight way better than this comp can. Yes, this comp has 2 machines, but the Sword and Tetra will outfight the machines 9 times out of 10. So, for Starburst to play this comp against an aggressive comp, the win conditions and styles of these two are very different. For this comp, it is about getting and taking as much space as possible with their main bodies to force the specials out without losing too much ground. And to be able to, like, constantly be fighting without ever fully losing space. Right? So they're not, like, they died, but they never went enough down to lose space. They always had enough of a plan to be able to hold that space. Okay, the message here is not that specials are overrated in comp. They kind of are, but that's not the point. The point is the way this comp is playing the game and this comp is playing the game are very different from each other. The issue is that Starburst was not effectively able to deal with this team's win condition. These guys got to play to the win condition of their team comp. Like, I've talked about this in a comp building video in Splatoon 2, right? The one I did with Prodigy. I know it's a long time ago, but some of you guys might remember it. Where comps have a win condition. They have a thing they play for. Right? A QR comp plays for this. What this comp plays for is, okay, we have all the best specials in the game, and all of them are going to force space. So if we cycle them well enough, we should always be gaining ground. And because we're always gaining ground, right, that's a positive. We're winning because of the ability to gain ground there. That is the idea. Like, it's that simple. These guys are getting ground via specials, and these guys are trying to force ground without having to use their specials. It is 2 completely different styles of play. Starburst didn't fail in this set because they just didn't play their win condition properly. They lost this set because this team played to it better than this team could deal with. Starburst in the Western scene is usually always able to play their win condition and nothing really stops them. Like, recently they have some losses, but for the most part, nothing has really stopped them from playing to this. And a lot of other teams have tried to approach it as, okay, we'll just do the same thing but better. Which is fine, and Jackpot for the most part did do that. Like, they play a bit differently, but the comps are similar. This team isn't trying to replicate Starburst. None of these weapons are even the same outside of the ballpoint. They are playing to a win condition differently. And these different conditions for what to win the game are clashing in different ways. So Starburst can effectively play to their win condition all they want, but if this team is able to play to what they want, it might be better. And in this case, this is what happens. When Starburst uses their specials, the adaptation that needed to be made this game is they needed to take more space. When there were 2 players down, you have to go. And I mean go. Because 1 player is all it takes for the entire thing to be reset. And the second all of the other players are in mid, the special's value is gone. This crab is made to take space. If it does not take space, what does it do? What's the point? And Starburst, to their credit here, like, it's to be fair to all these Western teams, has not had to deal with this. Graveyard is not at this level yet. Graveyard wants to play to the same condition, but they are nowhere near as optimized. This set was the opposite factor, for the most part, because there was a zap, right? In theory, this is the opposite. Okay, we have all the powerful specials. We have the slow Hydra Splatling. We will play to hold space. You guys have the fighting comp. You guys are trying to do the fighting thing. Right? And where I feel Graveyard struggles is in terms of fighting all the time and how they can struggle with that. And this is kind of the main takeaway of this tournament set that I have realized from watching a lot of these teams, and that applies to all the different comps that you have, is that you want to be fighting all of the time. Every weapon in your comp wants to be fighting. Right? Now, yes, not everything can die all the time. That's true. But everything should be fighting. When everything fights together, when everything's always fighting, it means they're always applying pressure. There is always a threat. There's always something that needs to be responded to. There's always something to worry about. And that can be difficult. That can be very overwhelming. And I think that's partially why a lot of teams struggled with NZAP. NZAP 85 was absolutely the weapon that countered Western teams the most. And it's not even something that's good everywhere. Like, Zap was overused in this tournament relative to how good it actually is. Right? Chocopero used it in Grands because he is a god and got to carry with it. But for the most part, this is a Rainmaker pick. Like, it's really not much else, you know? Like, this is just a Rainmaker weapon. Like, you pick Tacticooler so you can push faster and regroup faster, and it's useful for that. But they took that logic and just applied it to the whole team. Well, okay, we're gonna go fight. And we can fight because we have this, so we're gonna be more active. And this comp, that was supposed to be the more active one, supposed to be the more aggressive one, was getting run over by this one. Because this team failed to keep pressure. When they got map control fully, one guy is taking space by himself. No one else is fighting during this. Right? Zera's poking a Zap, but he's not fighting a Zap. Orion's fighting here, and then Obi goes and fights after him, and they're not fighting at the same time. And Chara is stuck on the tower. Let's get back to their push. Right? So let's look at this fight here, right? This is a 3v2 fight, you know? Like, this is a 3 versus 2 at the moment. And I want us to look at, like, just how willing they are to fight this. Like, 2v2, and there is no hesitation that it is a 2v2. They are still going. This guy is still up here. This guy is cracking and keeping fighting, and it doesn't stop. And because he doesn't stop, the other team comes in. And they don't lose ground. Like, they didn't retreat. Walking backward in this game is bad. You do not do it unless absolutely necessary, or if you have, like, wasted resources from the other team. So, for example, if Obi had Crab, and he crabbed here, and this team backed off, that's different. Because then the Crab is gone. But in this case, there was no specials actually used, no resources from Graveyard Shift. So the other team had no actual reason to put on the brakes, and they're not afraid of this team. So they will just keep fighting. And because of that, not only are they gaining ground, but they're also not losing any. They're also regrouping back here immediately. Right? And the second they get here, like, this Splash is going to fight. right? Bad play, but, you know, they're trying to fight. Then the Hydra is fighting. This guy is fighting. The Zap is throwing bombs with this player and giving a jump real quick, and then as soon as they're able to get a player in, or as soon as they're, like, ready to move, they go in. This Zap is here throwing bombs, and the second there's a super jump, they are out. And then there's the jump. Right? And look how little this guy then subsequently backs off, you know? Like, he's trying to get the jump in as close to the front as possible, and then this fight is happening. And this fight went the wrong way. This went poorly. But Graveyard still had to work a little bit harder before this was gone. Against most teams, they already would have just walked into mid and painted everything by now. But that small thing makes them work for it just a little bit more, and now by the time those players are back, they have a cooler. And then unfortunately, Autobomb moment, right? And this was seen a lot with Jackpot's set, right? Jackpot, to their credit, did a very good job adapting Game 2 and trying to match their pace. The machines from Madness and Leafy stepped up the aggression in this game. Like, they played to hold this space, and it started working, because the problem with this comp is, like, yes, it's gonna fight you all the time, but also, this thing does not have a special that takes space. Right? This thing can't stop you from running at it. Like, yeah, it can have a safety net. Like, it can regroup. But it's not going to stop it from dying. So they started to push. They started to be aggressive. And this is when we saw this team, the Japanese team here, having to use specials on their own defense. On their own side of the map. Like, that's a Crab and Booyah Bomb. Or, sorry, a Crab and Inkjet. Or Booyah and Inkjet. I can't fucking... Nice job, Chara. Like, Inkjet and Booyah Bomb. Right? And that is what led it to be scary. The problem is afterward, Jackpot popped Crab and Inkjet and got 1 kill. Or 2 kills. Someone else got a pick. Jared. Nice. But, like, now there's no defensive specials here. That is why Jackpot lost that game. Right now. This is when they lost the game. Like, they could salvage it from here, but their fight got infinitely harder the second those 2 specials were used. Because now they have nothing. There is no defensive resource here. And now when the other team pushes, it's that easy, especially on a map this small, for things to crumble. And Jackpot put up one hell of a fight here. Like, they got picks. But they had nothing to hold the line outside of just their own weapons. And that only is going to do so much. Until it eventually just breaks. So, Starburst won their set. Not much to look at here. I think AR did a pretty good job, actually. I know AR lost in semis, or not in semis, in round 1 as well, but AR did a much better job. First off, they're fighting the team that won the whole tournament. Yes, it was very close between the first seed and this seed, but they did a pretty damn good job. I think AR, if anything, just seemed to get nerves in game 3, because, like, AR doing this, if I can find the infamous bottom of the map fight here, where Volty and Kiver are down here and Scar down here, and then all of a sudden AR is taking a fight down here. Like, feels like a nerves thing. I'm not sure. But, like, this is split, and look at Volty here, the player that's supposed to be enabled with nobody around to paint. And then 3 people are here. And this is all over the place. I have not seen AR play Flounder like this. I have seen people go here. I have not seen this much of an overextension of resources on the side of the map. And it's unfortunate, but I still think AR did a pretty good job, all things considered. Like, I think they put up a good fight. I think kind of pacing is definitely something that is difficult here. And to be fair, like, this team is playing a faster pace. But what you'll notice from the team that actually gave them a run for their money here, in the Grands, is that they started to keep up that pace. When we saw their Wahoo hold, right, this was the infamous, where was it, right? So this team was losing the whole game. You know, they were getting locked out. And they were holding space against this, like, aggressive team that we saw took space for free. So what happened in this first half that prevented this team that was so dominant from holding as well? What happened here, right? From this point onward, they held for about 3 minutes. Right? So what happened that made it so hard? First off, this team knew when to back off. When we look at this fight here, we see Inkjet, we see Tri-Strike. On top of that, the Tetra is way over here, and the Splash is even further. Like, the Splash is throwing strikes, but then he has to walk in. So there's only, like, no one on this team is actually ready to be in, and Narisha's from spawn. So they threw 3 specials, and this team backs off, except for Chocopera, who, like, couldn't do anything here. 96 jumps, gets a trade, and then they hold with Crab. They back off, they wait off the enemy team's specials, but they don't give everything up for free. The Crab is holding every relevant position to get them back in. Which means another set of Tri-Strikes and another push is needed by the time they are actually back. This proper regroup thing is something my own team struggled with a lot in zones. It's very easy when you get, like, this much map control to continue to throw specials. Like, it's very easy for the Splash here to go, we have advantage, let's go Crab on this wall, and let's keep this going. And let's try to, like, gain further ground. But knowing when to go, okay, we have so much space, and they're using so many resources that we can afford to wait them out. And rather than trying to challenge things with the Crab, let's wait until that Inkjet is gone, until the Tri-Strikes are gone, and then Crab. And not only does that mean that Crab is not contested with specials, but now the players who were fighting, like, who had to go down in that fight, get to come back in mid. They don't get to come back on their side of the map. They don't get to swim into mid. They get to jump in. They are already here. The amount of downtime that was shaved off in this tournament by these two teams is frankly kind of ludicrous. Like, the reason these sets felt so breakneck pace is because this is how quickly teams like this can regroup when people go down. They know what to do with small number disadvantages and how to play it to where they maintain their advantage even when players go down. And that's really important because with how scrappy this game is, people are going to die in fights a lot. Cleanly winning team fights where none of your players go down is not feasible in this game. It is not a thing that happens. Like, almost ever. Like, this fight, they won the fight and the Squeezer's dead. You know? And, like, that is not a weapon that would typically go in a lot. This is not the same aggressive comp, but they are still holding lines. Right? Look how aggressive we're holding in front of the zone. You know? Like, we're not giving space until they force it out of our hands. And because they had to force it out of our hands, they are not getting all the space that they wanted to get. And, you know, it's still difficult, you know, that's just game sense, but obviously you have to also not die to the best Stamper in the world, not die to the best Tetra in the world, not die to one of the best Inkjets in the world. So, like, even with a better understanding of what to do, it doesn't mean it's free. You can understand it and still mess up very easily. It's not hard to mess up in this game. It is very easy. And that's kind of the tricky thing. Right? I definitely see the value in having more of a QR player now. Like, I've always thought it is valuable, but I think now, having a weapon that's like, okay, this guy will mainly be the person who dies in fights. Like, this is the guy who they are going to have to fight first. So, the way I kind of am thinking of it now, I kind of thought of it as, like, defensive for the other team. Slacker had a good analogy in team chat, which is, if you guys have played Pokemon, the move Substitute. You guys know what that is? You know, where you put the little green dude, you know, and you lose a chunk of your health for a little bit. That's what Substitute is, and then it tanks a hit. and then your Pokemon comes in. That is what QR weapon is in this game. It is literally just throwing out that little green guy on the field and being like, okay, you go take it. Because I don't want us to die, because we gotta live to get you back. And we want to fight, because we don't want to sit back. So let's throw this guy in and have them fight it. Like, you can have that. You can take that. Except in this game, the substitute QR thing can also kill you. You know, it doesn't just sit there. In this game, it actually can also shoot you. Right? Perfect analogy, because substitute uses 25% HP. There you go. Slacker's a genius. There you go. Right? It's like having a player where it's like, okay, this guy is not only, like, there to die, but he is prepped for it. He has gear for it. He has weapons for it. And our team is playing around the fact that, okay, I can be more aggressive here as a heavy. I can pre-fire this area more directly, maybe, because they have to focus on this dude back here, or this dude crackening an Inkjet landing. This one's probably too far, but that's just an issue with Kraken in general. Like, that's why Zipcaster to camp landings is better, because the Zipcaster will go here, go kill the landing, and then come back. Meanwhile, the Kraken is now slowly wandering back into the middle of the map and is going to promptly die. Wonderful. Now, to be fair, this comp is built very well to hold map control, which is why when they eventually did break, yeah, their retake became very hard. Because you have one weapon with a bomb that's not even lethal, and you have a bunch of mid-range stuff, and you have a lottery special, a not real entry special, a somewhat good entry special, and a good entry special on Wahoo World. And good luck using all of those, because there's going to be a Tetra, and there is going to be a Stamper, and the Neo Splash is walking forward, and everyone is fighting. And the ballpoint is holding the front line. Look how active this team is now. Like, you see how the ballpoint is shooting at someone constantly. Right? This ballpoint is shooting someone constantly. This Splash is throwing bombs at someone. This Sword is throwing bombs at someone. Like, this ballpoint worked on Jet for a bit, and the second they got the chance to go and fight someone, they did. And Chocopero, or not Chocopero, whoever was up here and died. Oh, it was Chocopero, right? Chocopero wasn't even fighting anyone. They just wanted Chocopero fighting someone instead of doing anything else. So they went and fought him. Practice being more aggressive in scrims. How we play is going to change because Wiper Deco. Will we make the adaptation quickly? I have no idea. I have not had the weapon out yet. And a lot of it for us is going to depend on if 92 Blast will be good. Because ideally with Wiper Deco, I would now be the Super QR player. I will be the guy who goes and dies. Right? And hopefully that means I can have a weapon I can pick besides Sword. Because Sword is fine as the QR weapon. Like, Sword can do it. But it doesn't want to do it everywhere. We'll see. But it's also going to be different in general because missiles. Oh shit, the big house just got announced with Splatoon 3. Yo. Yo! That is crazy. That is awesome. Big House, yeah, Smashland. They're having Splatoon 3. October 20th through 22nd. Alright, that's cool. I don't know if I'll be able to go, but that is cool. So, Big House is a thing. That is sick. Very cool to hear. I'm gonna go log that for my team. I doubt we'll be able to actually go. I don't even think I will be able to go, but I'm gonna do the proper captain shit and log it. Anyway, that's cool. More Splatoon lands is always cool. Anyway. S-Blast gonna play like a pseudo Tetra? I mean, I think S-Blast is just a primary QR weapon because, like, it doesn't have a kit. So, like, I don't see it playing any other style and being good. Like, to me, if S-Blast 92 is gonna be playable, it needs to be a good main weapon and needs to be able to play QR. If it cannot do both of those things, I don't think it's gonna be used at all. So I hope it can, I don't know if it will. So. I think the main takeaway is, I think, regardless of the style you're playing, I think it's going to be very much where, like, teams need to understand what they are playing to. Graveyard Shift has to play more like this team. This is how their comp is built to play. They have to commit to it fully. And that's kind of like a thing Graveyard struggles with, that they haven't committed to it fully. Our team is similar. Our team hasn't fully committed either, but that's because ours is a little different, and we haven't figured out, like, how we want to do it. And I'm hoping Wiper Deco will provide some answers and close off a few problems that we've had. But, you know, we won't know for sure, especially depending on, like, what the patch is. Chara Brella is a QR weapon? Yeah, Brella's not a QR weapon because that shit exerts no pressure. It also doesn't stall very long. It dies fast and it applies no pressure. I know you're trolling, but there's gonna be some people who are like, oh, can't Undercover do that, though? No. Because if there's an Undercover behind you, nobody cares. If there's a Tetra behind you, you better care, or it's gonna go kill you. Yeah, Brellas are doing their best in this game. This is also part of why Brellas are bad. Brellas cannot get anywhere near this pace. The only one that can maybe force it is Tent, and that's more because Tent can slow everything else down. Brella and Undercover cannot come close to this in their current state. They don't even stand a chance. That is why they are bottom tier right now. They cannot play to this speed. And, like, even the Starburst-esque we play around specials comp, right? Even that comp has to play faster than Brella could ever do. And Brella doesn't even work with those comps. But even if Brella could play to that speed and get like a crab tank, it still wouldn't work. That's the crazy part. And yeah, as good as the West is getting, I mean, this was a very, very stark reminder of how ahead Japan still is, you know? And it sucks to say that. Like, I was really hoping this would be the World Championship where we made progress. Like, we have had the most stacked Western lineup we've ever had in an NA Championship. Like, Graveyard has had a lot of good results and has been doing pretty well recently. Like, I think they've been improving very consistently. Jackpot, of course, just won the Open. Starburst has been really dominant, and AR has been finally finding identity and direction with Volti on the team. And I think it's a testament to how strong Japan is that all of that stuff happened, and they still kick us out of Grands. They're that far ahead. And, you know, that's a tough pill to swallow. Like, I really wish I could be bringing different news than that, but that is the news. You know, that's where things are at. And I think realistically, I mean, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think this is gonna change for a while. Some people are saying it'll take a few years. Like, I know FLC is saying it'll take a few years. Also, my music paused. Why did it pause? YouTube, did you do the thing where you like to pause for no reason? Yes, you did. Good job. Right? It wasn't too far off? No, but it was. 3-0 is too far off. I mean, Mashu was literally, like... I gotta find this damn clip of Mashu. Hold on. Like, can I just show you how far Mashu was? while the Rainmaker is here. This literally looks like... This shit looks like your little Timmy V-Sploosh who's lost in solo queue. But it's not. He's still there, by the way. He kills Bagel again in a bit. Like, it's hard to see from this POV, but Mashu is still there. And Bagel dies to him again. You can see the Reef Slider icon. He is still there. Little Timmy SVL, that's not me. Okay. He's still there. Mashu's still up there. And now he's dead. Yeah, speed is a big thing. But I want to be fair to the Western teams here real quick. Because I'm giving West a lot of shit. Right? And this includes my own team. Like, this is far from just the teams competing here. This is everyone at top level is bad. Or not bad, but like, is worse than we thought. Right? So let me give some slack. Okay? These are sponsored players. These are players that all speak the same language, that all live in the same time zone, that are in a region that takes the game seriously. With significantly more competition everywhere, with pickup culture in terms of the fact that they play with each other all the time, and with way more serious and frequent events for top-level play. So to be fair, the fact that we have Western teams doing as good as we're doing is a goddamn miracle, because everything about how these two scenes are set up has set us up to fail. Just to make it this far is an incredible fucking challenge. It's incredible. And there's more reasons than that. These are not all the reasons. Those are like the main ones. There is more to this. This is not the only thing. Like, there is far more to it than that. Imagine Western players sharing tech with each other? Yeah. I mean, Japan just also plays with each other more. Like, it is not uncommon to see mixtures of all these top players in different events. They don't always play with their normal quote-unquote teams compared to West. Like, when is the last time you saw, like, everyone on Starburst playing in, like, 3 different pickups in the same tournament? Name the last time that happened. At all. Does anyone know? Because that happens in Japan all the time. All the time. Yeah, lack of latency as well, so everything's a bit, you know, similar. Why would that be an advantage? If you know how to play with multiple different people of multiple different styles, and you have to constantly learn how to play with different things without a lot of practice, you become very adaptable. You become very knowledgeable and smart about the game. You don't just learn, okay, this is how I play the game because this is how my team plays the game. You learn, okay, this is how I approach the game with this. This is how I play with this, and this, and this, and this. And Japan has a lot of one-tricks. Narisho over here played in a team comp recently and got second place in a weekly event with a Tenebrella one-trick and a Wiper one-trick. They played Stamper, Wiper, Ballpoint, Tent, and still did well. And how that comp plays is nothing like this comp. Because it has a tent in it. But they know how to do it. If you threw 3 Western players on different top teams together, and then threw in a top 10 player, and then put them in an event, they would not do well. Like, they probably won't do bad, but people aren't going to look at them and go like, yeah, they could probably win. Here you can. Gameplay adaptation is something we lack a lot. Yeah. Yes. There are 3 top players in Shadow. Well, Shadow's the top player, so. But he doesn't play 10 in tournaments, really, so that's why I didn't mention. When's Draft Cup happening? I'm not sure, but Draft Cup would be good. But, like, that's just one tournament. What needs to happen is people do pickups more. Pickups is something that needs to happen way more. And it's something I'm already going to go yell at my own team about tonight. Like, everyone needs to do more pickups at top level with other top level players. Like, just branch out, just in practice. Like, figure out how you play, like, Wiper or Stamper or Splasher or Ballpoint or Machine or whatever with a bunch of different comps. Instead of going, oh, okay, I play Splash. I want another Splash, Machine, Ballpoint only. Or like, okay, we got a Squeezer. Or we got a 96. Or we got an NZAP. I will learn to play with this. Now, of course, that's not gonna fucking happen. And everyone in the scene is gonna forget any part of this discussion or what we're going to improve on within the next 3 days. And everything will go back to normal. Yeah, I hope none of you guys are expecting any major changes to actually come from this. I'm just saying. I hate to be the realist here, but like, most top players are not going to care about this in 3 days. Yeah, AR is a good example of this. Like, AR is the team that has done it quickly. They got thrown a Carbon player. Like, AR has been struggling for 4th for so long, and Volti has just been sitting there, like, twiddling his thumbs like, well, if only there was a 4th player. Wow. That's so crazy, guys, you know? But, like, how quickly AR was able to adapt their playstyle to working with Volti? Like, guys, they got Volti and beat Starburst in, I think, 3 weeks. Like, that's pretty damn cool. Like, yes, close set and all top team and have a lot of synergy for your blah, blah, blah. Yeah, caveat, Ashrock, whatever. That's impressive. I don't care. Right? But it's like, you need to be willing to work around that kind of thing. Hell, most Western top players don't know how to play around this still. I literally see Kyo do pickups with JP players because West doesn't play around swords well. And this thing's top 5! How do you can still be good? That mindset is trash. Probably actually worse. Not that 92 can't work, but that's the wrong approach. But like the idea of, okay, I have a 52, how do we play around it? Right? That kind of thing is much better. Opening Gambit? I do not think Opening Gambit... Oh my god, my voice. Let me get a water. I think QR Sword should not play Opening Gambit. The run speed doesn't even work on it, and the Intensify is useless. All you are getting is the swim speed. If you really wanted that, just run a bit of swim speed, and you'll be good. I think people instantly want something to be perfect, so they don't like to experiment. Yeah, Anger, I mean, that is very common. Like, I mean, look at the amount of European top teams that died in 2 months. Like, when this game came out. Prominence, Omniscient... AR lost people, that was a different situation. There's another team, and I've completely forgot about them. There's another EU team I'm forgetting at top level. And they all died, like, immediately. Like, way too fast to actually figure out what they needed to do to work, but a lot of these teams want results, and they want it quickly. And, you know, like, that's an approach I understand with my own team. Like, I will be very open that when Last Resort started, we had the results of a high-level team, not a top-level team. And oftentimes we still do underperform, like that happens. But I'm not someone who is afraid of that. Not that I excuse it, it's just, like, I am in for the long haul. That is always what the case is to me, and I think for a lot of people that's a difficult pill to swallow. Like, catching Starburst is not going to happen in a week. Like, yeah, AR beat them in 3 weeks since acquiring Volti, but AR was at one point the best team in the Western scene. They've had 3 people who played with each other for years. It's not all new. I mean, some teams died for valid reasons. Like, not every team died because they were too impatient. Like, that's a factor of some teams, and I'm more than willing to say that. But most teams don't die that way. A lot of the NA teams in particular did last quite a long time. And then eventually they were just like, okay, this is not the progress level we want. You know? And there's nothing wrong with that. But it depends, do you think that this team has actually put in enough of an effort to know for sure that, like, there wasn't something to work through? That it's worth tossing away all the months of practicing together to start over and make a new team? And that's a difficult question. Yeah, sometimes it's a weapon things. Like, do you guys remember Climb? You know, when Climb formed, our comps were pretty good. And then K52 got buffed, and all of a sudden, all our comps were terrible. Because everything became shooters, and we had one shooter player. And the team just died very quickly. And, like, that wasn't the fault of any players there. That was just, damn, that sucks. And that's, you know, that's something that's harder with Splat 3, you know? Like, if you make a team in 2022 Splatoon 2, you know what to expect. Right? Like, you know what the meta is, you know what's good, you know what weapons you want. This game will have that change all the time. Everyone has to be adaptable now in teams these days. There's no getting away with it. Right? Everyone has to be able to do it. No single player can get away with not experimenting. You know? If they kill Sword, I better have Machine ready. Like, I better. Because they could do it. It could happen tomorrow. Or maybe tomorrow they kill Machine, and I need a substitute weapon for that. Who knows? You know? Or maybe, you know, it could be a case of, like, what happened with my team, where it's like, okay, we can't run double splash anymore. And we're like, thank God! Storm gets to have fun! And, like, yay. But then also, okay, he's having fun, but also we still have to get better at ballpoint. And that might take time. Like, Storm still has a lot of work to do on that weapon. You know? Like, even if it's something he enjoys more, it's still, okay, I still have to learn to get better at this thing. Hell, it could happen in an hour if they drop the notes today. So it'll probably be tomorrow. But I mean, I think at the end of it all, you know, what was the mecha player than Splash? He plays BP right now, but he just kind of prefers to stay with Splash at the moment. But he's pretty flexible, honestly. Like, he's probably the best flexible player on the team, so I could definitely see what he plays changing in future patches depending on how things go. Just still playing comment and think about stuff like this? I mean, you can always come back, Edsel. Yes, Mecha was on Climb as well. I've known Mecha for 7 years. Or almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years in July, so very long time. He was on one of my first teams. Or, not my team, but, yeah. Also, Tuesday there's maintenance, so we know the notes will be Monday at the latest. Because it's always dropped 24 hours before, so like, at the very least, we're getting the Monday. Because the maintenance schedule is literally up. I require you finding people to play with. You can do it. I believe in you. Your team in Splatoon for the long haul like me? Of course. Like, this is something I've told them day one. I was like, okay, this is what I want. I want long-term prioritization. I want the long haul. I want effort. Like, I want to be the best, and I want to be the best for a while. Weekly, bi-weekly tournaments? I mean, you can have oversaturation to the point where, like, people are split amongst too many events, but I'm not sure where we're at right now. I'm not really familiar with how many tournaments there actually are, so not really the person for this question, really. Yeah. That's just kind of my thoughts, though. I mean, I think we got a long way to go, like, the scene as a whole, but, you know, that's, you know, I think personally, I'll say this right now, I think West versus JP is the most interesting and long-lasting storyline in this entire scene. It's something that's been around from the very beginning, and I don't think it'll ever go away. And yeah, it takes a while for the story to progress, but it's hella entertaining every time we get to see these kind of teams clash, you know? And it's interesting. It's unique to the Splatoon scene in a way of how it happens, and I'm hyped for it. And I think a lot of viewers feel the same way. This tournament stream was actually like the most watched tournament stream I've had on my channel, more than the gimmick event, which a lot of people requested. How JP player views the Western scene? It varies a bit. But, I mean, Japan knows they're the better scene. Let's be honest. Rose the Cast with you and Fuzzy. It was on my YouTube channel. You can still find it under the live section. I'll be keeping it up on my channel, like with the Idle stream. I will probably host more tournament streams on my YouTube. I might not cast most of them, because I'll probably be playing in them, but I do plan to host more streams here. I would love if there's any low-ink TOs in the chat. I would love to have low ink on my stream at one point, because I know for a lot of my viewers, it is definitely the first event they play or would want to play. So I would love to be able to have that shown off. Played Div 2 Ludi the past in S2. Oh, nice. That was the season I started as well. Thinking about returning. Shit, I'm a bit rusty. I mean, if you have fun, go for it. You got a lot of catching up to do anyway. The scene's progressed a lot in 6 years, but, I mean, you just get started, you know? No rush. It's for fun. Splatoon outside of Japan is overlooked. Yep, and it'll probably be that way for a long time. Especially competitively. Like, a lot of people can't even see the game as a major game, and that's what it is objectively. Like, it is a big-selling AAA top 4 Nintendo series. Or franchise or whatever. You know? And if most people can't even see it as that, then yeah, I mean, it being seen as that and a viable esport is, it's a long way away. But, I mean, that's, you know, that's where we're at. You know, as much of these, we might have these problems in terms of, like, keeping up with Japan or being seen as a more major scene, that's part of what's fun to me. I like the idea of trying to help grow this, like, really cool scene that I'm in. Or grow a team I'm in to be able to one day stand a chance against teams like these. And, you know, I'm not there yet. My content isn't exactly groundbreaking in terms of growing the scene, and neither is my team in terms of being able to become the best in the entire scene to become world champions. But, you know, that's the goal. And I think those are incredibly fun goals to work toward. They keep me motivated, and they have for, like, a long time. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Or should you go to start a stream? I would look up Splatoon Stronghold. You can find the link in any of my YouTube videos, but it's generally a good hub, and you can find a lot of, like, stuff there. Well, this ended up being a much deeper stream than the World Champion stuff, but I guess that's what happens, so. Yeah, go play low ink. There you go, that's a takeaway. I can hear all of you in the chat who are like, oh, but I don't know if I should be in competitive. I don't know if I'm good enough. Go watch Squid School video. Go just do it. Just go enter. Go play low ink. That's why play low ink is a phrase. Just go do it. Like, yeah, you might lose every single game. Oh, well, go play it. You'll have fun. It'll be a learning experience. You gotta start somewhere. You don't get to start by winning. Everyone starts by losing. And this is where I can be a boomer and go, back in my day, there were no level tournaments. If you entered as a brand new team, you entered into a double elimination bracket at best. And you got to fight 2 good teams in a row and immediately lose, and you were done within the first hour, at most. Nowadays, you kids can play, like, 3 different rounds and formats and bracket splits and all that stuff accommodating you. Lazy Zoomers. I can't talk like that. I'm a Zoomer. Like, just play. Like, you guys are lucky, though. Like, truly. Like, There's a lot of tournaments made to ease getting into the game. Like, you just gotta start. And then if you play it and you like it, please don't only play low ink every 2 months or a Nintendo tournament or Ludi. Like, go enter other stuff. Go play a few tournaments against better teams. It's only gonna be the way you get better. Funniest old man impression ever? Yes, I'm very bad at it, but whatever. I acknowledge it, so that makes it okay. My first experience with low ink was getting clapped. I'm now Div 5 and I'm on a proper team. There you go. Everyone starts by getting clapped. Everyone. Even the best players in this game, like the players you look at here, like all these Starburst players, please know that every single one of them started by getting clapped. Every single one of them. All started that way. Oh yeah, also takeaway. Kraken cheese is nice in Clam Blitz. Kraken go burr. They're playing on day 1 in Splatoon 1? Yeah. Doesn't mean they were good. Everyone was shit at the beginning. Everyone. We were all hot garbage. Second place in Alpha? Congrats. But yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm looking forward to when we're going to be able to get a run at this again. I'd assume it happens before summer ends, so... Hey, Western teams, especially top level, we got 3 months. Let's get our fucking shit together. And then win the next time. Let's do it. Or at least make it to Grands. You know? Or have multiple teams make it to semis. Let's do that next time. That sound cool? I want to be there next time, you know? I want to be actually competing in this. Commentating was fun as hell. I would love to do that again. But I would love much more to be there. So. Anyway. Yeah. So. Let's sum up this really random discussion with the actual World Champ points. JP teams play a lot more to their win condition. They play a lot faster in general. A lot more varied comps. Players have a lot more information on what to play to and are much more open to experimentation and pickups, so there's a lot more game knowledge on how to play to different conditions and things they might be comfortable with. Japan is a lot easier of a scene to improve in because it's larger, it's taken more seriously, there's not a language gap, there's not a time zone gap, and players are just much more easily and more readily available to play with each other. A lot of Western teams here need to get better at playing to their win conditions, but also recognizing alternate win conditions, especially from comps that will play completely differently to their own, such as this set right now that we're seeing on my screen. And on top of that, teams need to continue to be adaptable, as the meta shifts will mean that all players on every team will have to be adaptable at some point at the highest level to be able to integrate enough of the meta into their comps along with their own unique style in order to be good at the game. Finally, it's very important to be fighting all the time, even if your weapons that don't need to go in. QR weapons are the substitute move from Pokemon, and that was the entire stream. Thanks for watching this ramble. Bye!